I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Financial scams and con artists have been around at least as long as people have been using money. In the past, when I read stories about scams, I often wondered how people could be so gullible. I assumed that the victims of fraud were the vulnerable, the elderly, or the less educated, had suffered a loss of a loved one, or were isolated. I have found out that that's not necessarily the case. While some data suggests that 1 in 5 of those over age 65 have been targeted by email scammers, being scammed can happen to anyone. I I think I get several attempts a day. Nobody is immune to fraud, and sometimes people simply fall for the scams due to the psychological techniques employed by fraudsters. Often, especially this time of year, their strategies are meant to take advantage of our desire to give. Let's take a look at a few categories. Shipping and mailing scams. If you're sending gifts, be suspicious if you get an email or a text message that appears to be from UPS, FedEx, or the US Post Office. One scam involves sending messages that you need to pay a fee for a missed delivery, which is an attempt to lure you to a fake website that asks you for your credit card or debit card information. Another good thing to do is hang on to receipts that include tracking numbers in case you need to find a misdelivered package. It happens. It's also a good idea to let recipients know the tracking number and the expected date of delivery to help them guard against packages being stolen by porch pirates. Mail checks or gift cards at the post office or a drop box rather than putting them in your home mailbox. Why? A friend of mine had thieves steal a check out of her mailbox, alter the payee and the amount, and try to cash it at her bank. Fortunately, an alert teller refused the transaction and also called the police with information about the thief's car, and they were caught. Stolen checks can also be used for identity theft or sold on the dark web. Another category is a family member in need scam. A standard phone scam targeting grandparents is the call from someone claiming to be your oldest grandson who's in trouble and needs money urgently. A related method sends random text messages pretending to be a family member who's lost their phone. If a parent responds to a text saying, "This is my new number," the scammer then asks for money because of some problem related to losing their phone. In cases like this, you want to be like one of my clients who got the "Grandma, I'm in trouble" phone call. Her oldest grandson has a distinctive voice, so she knew immediately that the call was a phony. Instead of responding with the grandson's name, which is what the scammer hopes for, she just said, "Oh," and waited. "I won," she later said proudly. The scammer hung up on me. Charitable giving scams. All scammers want for Christmas is for you to include them in your holiday giving. They may pose as well-known legitimate charities or use fake names similar to those of real organizations. They might also take advantage of our desire to help by inventing stories of children with acute illnesses or current events like the war in Ukraine or natural disasters. Be alert for charities with unfamiliar names, websites that don't quite look right, and texts or emails from an unverified source. Instead of responding to an unsolicited message asking for donations, do your own research for a legitimate charity's website and initiate your donation there. None of us want to be an Ebenezer Scrooge during the holidays. That is, an Ebenezer Scrooge before his transformation. Where scammers are concerned, though, applying some of his suspicious nature is a good idea. Thanks for listening.